Are you losing out on money because you're not pricing your design work the right way? It can be difficult to know which basis to use when there are so many options to choose from. Hourly, daily, per item, per project, values, retainers, equity. To help you find a method that's both fair and rewarding, here's a concise look at the advantages and disadvantages of each available model to help you decide which of these 5 is the best fit for your skills, experience, and type of clients. Number 1 is to charge for your time. This could be a day rate or even by the hour. Everyone understands this as many employees are paid according to an hourly rate. It's transparent, and some clients might see this as fair because you're being recompensed for the actual time you spend working on the project at a rate which matches your skills and experience. Another advantage is flexibility. You don't have to worry about scope creep. As long as the client is willing to pay, you can keep working as much as they instruct. No matter how many changes they ask for or additional requests they add, you'll be paid for as long as it takes. It's easy to see how this would be a disadvantage though. The total cost to the client is uncertain at the outset, which could make them reluctant to begin. For you, the designer, charging by time spent is problematic because it doesn't take into account that as you gain experience, you can work faster and more accurately. Efficiency gains can mean lower earnings over time. You can keep raising your rates to counter this, but some clients will balk at what appear to be high hourly rates. I often use the locksmith analogy to illustrate this. Imagine you're locked out of your house with your young children, shivering in the freezing rain, waiting for the locksmith to arrive. In scenario 1, the locksmith works diligently, returning often to his van to find ever more complex tools, sweating and groaning as he strives to get you inside. After 2 hours, he finally manages it, but suggests he will need to come back tomorrow to replace the lock, which takes a further 1 hour. 3 hours total. In scenario 2, the locksmith takes a moment to assess the problem, then selects the correct tool and has you inside within 5 minutes. As you dry off, he fits a new door lock, and by the 30-minute mark, he's driving away. Job done. Now, which locksmith would be paid more? The first one worked for 6 times as long as the second. Surely he should be paid more. I would argue that the quicker locksmith should actually be paid 6 times more. That would make his hourly rate 36 times that of the slower worker. But if the first locksmith is charging $50 an hour, that would mean the second one charges $1,800 an hour. Sounds crazy high, but the logic is sound. Would you rather pay $150 and wait outside for 2 hours and have an unlocked door overnight, or B, pay $900 and be inside your home after 5 minutes and have a secure door that same evening? That's a reasonable trade-off, but people get uncomfortable when they see rates like $1,800 per hour. Other pricing models might be better at handling this. The second option is a fixed project-based price. In this instance, the quotation for the total cost of the project is provided by the designer to the client. Agreeing on a fixed price up front improves clarity. You pay X, you get Y. To arrive at a figure, you estimate the time spent by everyone who will work on the project and the cost of any resources, plus profit depending on your company structure. With this model, projects are more likely to be properly scoped before they begin. It's in the interest of both designer and client to provide detailed requirements and agree a schedule. Because the purchaser no longer sees a rate, it's easier for you to earn a higher effective hourly rate as your efficiency increases. However, you are taking on more risk. If your estimation was off and it takes more time and resources than you imagined to complete the project, then your profits will be eroded. Scope creep results in the same problem. This is when the requirements of the project grow during the process. A client realizes they actually need a blog on their marketing website. A brand identity project includes packaging design, right? That's why we came to you, to update our labeling. Well, that was not part of the scope of work. Presenting additional bills as a result of a misunderstanding is rarely well received, but this isn't something to be overly worried about, just a reminder to ensure you to communicate well, setting appropriate expectations. The vendor must be clear on the process and number of revisions, for example, and the client has to agree to this in writing. Number 3, value-based. Value-based pricing looks the same as fixed price to the client. They are provided with a single project cost. The difference is the way you arrive at the figure. Instead of adding up the inputs, what it's going to take for you to deliver this project, all the time, all the resources, you consider the output. What is the market rate for this service? What difference is this going to make to the client's business? What ability do they have to pay? A 1% uplift for a local florist is so negligible that they might not even bother with a new website. But I've worked on projects with trillion-dollar companies, a 1% uplift for them would mean that their budget for marketing and design is effectively unlimited, and they behave that way sometimes. Value-based pricing means potential for higher earnings, but you can only realize this on impactful projects for clients with a healthy budget. It can also help to align objectives between designer and client, knowing what's important to them, the result you're trying to bring about. If they see that result, it will strengthen your relationship and is more likely to lead to a long-term engagement. The disadvantages of this model mainly lie in the sales process. You have to play in a higher league, engage with clients who understand business. An increase in traffic and conversions on an e-commerce store is straightforward to demonstrate, but in many other cases it can be challenging to communicate the intangible value provided by design. However, motivated clients with lots of cash are much easier to deal with than those with little money and no clear idea of what they want. Number 4, retainer. It's become trendy to sell design subscription services, positioning them like software, but the retainer model has been around for a long time. It's an ongoing collaboration between the designer and the client, where the client agrees to pay a regular fee for a predetermined set of services over an extended period. That might be access to a set amount of your time every month or a specific service like website maintenance. This model fosters a long-term partnership, ensuring a steady and predictable income stream for the designer while offering the client consistent support. The retainer model is particularly beneficial when there is a need for continuous updates, maintenance, or regular new projects. Advertising agencies often use a retainer plus model, where the client can access their creative services, but production costs and media buying are quoted and billed as additions for each project. Long-term collaboration cultivates a deeper relationship with your clients. You get to know their business and are more equipped to serve them. They will be more open to giving you referrals. However, the lack of variety can be a negative if you're someone who chose to go freelance or start your own agency, specifically because you didn't want an in-house role anymore. Retainers can feel like a part-time job. You also have to ensure they remain profitable. It's easy to overservice a client, which hurts your margins and prevents you taking on other work. On the other hand, if you underservice a client, they might well cancel their subscription, which leaves you without a regular income source. With retainers, you tend to be reliant on a few clients. Number 5, performance-based. Performance-based pay, where you take equity, commission, or a royalty. A big advantage is the alignment of incentives. The designer now wants the project to be successful just as much as the client does. You could also end up with outsized rewards, but for that possibility, you bear some of the risk. Consider the opportunity cost as well. Equity projects can be time consuming. Time spent here might be diverted from other projects which can pay you immediately. Determining equity percentage can be tricky and may require legal assistance. This model is inherently more complex. None of these ways to price design work is necessarily wrong. As you weigh these models against your current situation, your skills, experience, role, type of clients you can attract, even your location, remember there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your journey as a designer is unique and your pricing should reflect that. As you grow, your pricing strategy can evolve too. Keep the conversation going in the comments, and until next time, happy designing.